The earth trembles, the skies weep, and the Stormcast arrive. The scions of the storm making an entrance is always both a beautiful and terrible sight to witness. Golden drops of rain that travel at the speed of light, the heavens enact their rightfulness upon the realms, rested upon the shoulders of those who cannot fail, the hammers of Sigmar.
Welcome to Gur, brothers. You know our mission. Patience. And mind your surroundings.
There is nothing more powerful than the deep, rock-hard voice of Lord Commander Bastian Carthalos. He is in charge of a very sensitive matter. He has to confront an ally about supposed pillaging of a friendly human settlement. The representatives of that Dawnbringer crusade were very transparent about their need for recompense. They want to see the Snake Queen punished for her behavior. And to enact punishment on Marathi, you need a very big hammer. Now only to swing it hard enough to serve as a warning, and soft enough not to shatter the already fragile alliance. The Melusai grow weary of the march. They have seen nothing but wilderness for the last 5 miles, and their soft skin is still infested with Nurgle's remnants. Despite their victory, Zaintharkai's forces have been pressed by fatigue, due to the difficult terrain and the distance to the Realm Gate. Even the Shadow Queen is not herself, hissing randomly at rocks and dead trees, frustrated by the lack of action. Marathi Kane's gaze is what keeps them moving. Her iron will is stronger than any force in their lives, and she will not tolerate delays. A small reflection of golden light keeps growing on Heartrender. She immediately knows who that is, and orders a full stop.
Sigmar be praised. We have an escort.
I have come to teach you a lesson in good manners, Khainite. Don't take it personally.
How dare you! After doing your dirty work with those maggots! Stand aside now!
No tyrant will ever break our resolve. No matter the cost, we will have justice or nothing at all. We cannot fail!
The battle tactic is Cunning Maneuver. Bastian fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Iron Scale fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Lord Relictor prays for Translocate on himself. Bastion activates the Thunderborn on the Shadow Queen but deals no damage. The Knight Judicator Deep Strikes. Bastion activates all-out attack on the Knight Judicator using the Voice of Thunder ability. The Shadow Queen activates all-out defense. The Knight Judicator deals 3 damage to the Shadow Queen. The Stormcast score 5 victory points. The battle tactic is Cunning Maneuver. The Lord Relictor fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Iron Scale activates Heroic Leadership. Marathi Kane casts Mirror Dance. Marathi Kane fails to cast Mind Razor. Marathi Kane casts Mystic Shield on the Iron Scale. Marathi Kane activates Worship through Bloodshed on the Shadow Queen. The Shadow Queen deals 4 damage to the Sequitors. The Slaughter Queen prays for a Catechism of Murder on the Blood Sisters. The Iron Scale activates at the double on the Blood Sisters. The Liberators activate Redeploy. The Knight Zephyros activates Wind Rider. The Shadow Queen deals 1 damage to the Sequitors. The Liberators activate all-out defense. The Bloodstalkers deal no damage to the Liberators. The Iron Scale activates Wrath of the Scarborn on the Blood Sisters. The Fulminators activate Unleash Hell, but deal no damage to the Blood Sisters. The Shadow Queen fails to activate Stomp. The Shadow Queen deals 5 damage to Bastion. The Liberators deal 1 damage to the Blood Sisters. The Blood Sisters deal 4 damage to the Fulminators and finish off the Liberators. The Liberators deal 3 damage to the Blood Sisters using the Blaze of Glory ability. The Fulminators activate the Inspiring Triumph. The Fulminators finish off the Blood Sisters, which deals 6 damage back using the Kane's Essence ability. Bastian deals 3 damage to the Shadow Queen. The Daughters of Khaine score 4 victory points. The battle tactic is United Offense. The Shadow Queen activates Finest Hour. Bastian activates Finest Hour. Marathi Kane fails to cast Mind Razor. Marathi Kane casts Mystic Shield on the Blood Sisters. Marathi Kane fails to cast Black Horror. The Slaughter Queen activates Catechism of Murder on herself. The Shadow Queen deals no damage to the Liberators. The Night Zephyros deals no damage to the Fulminator. The Bloodstalkers activate all-out attack. The Bloodstalkers finish off the Fulminator and deal 2 damage to the Lord Relictor. Bastian activates Unleash Hell on the Night Judicator using the Voice of Thunder ability. The Night Judicator fails to deal any damage to the Blood Sisters. The Shadow Queen activates Stomp and deals 2 damage to the Fulminators. Bastian activates All-Out Defense. The Shadow Queen activates All-Out Slaughter. The Shadow Queen finishes off Bastian and deals 6 damage to the Fulminators. Bastian deals 3 damage to the Shadow Queen using the Blaze of Glory ability. The Sequitors deal 2 damage to the Blood Sisters, which deal 1 damage back using the Kane's Essence ability. The Blood Sisters finish off the Sequitors, and the Knight Judicator, which deal 3 damage to the Blood Sisters using the Blaze of Glory ability. The Gryph-hounds deal 2 damage to the Blood Sisters, that deal 1 damage back, using the Kane's Essence ability. The Gryph-hounds activate darting attacks. The Daughters of Khaine score 5 victory points. The battle tactic is an eye for an eye. The Lord Relictor fails to activate Heroic Leadership, but activates Heroic Recovery, healing 1 wound. Marathi Kane fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Lord Relictor prays for translocation. The Vanguard Raptors Deep Strike. The Vanguard Raptors finish off the Shadow Queen. The other Vanguard Raptors deal 3 damage to the Blood Sisters. The Blood Sisters activate Inspiring Presence. The Stormcast score 4 victory points. The battle tactic is an eye for an eye. The Iron Scale activates Heroic Leadership. The Lord Relictor activates Heroic Leadership. The Fulminators activate Rally but return no models. The Slaughter Queen fails to pray for a Catechism of Murder. The Knight Zephyros activates Wind Rider. The Lord Relictor activates Redeploy. The Bloodstalkers activate All-Out Attack. The Bloodstalkers destroy the Vanguard Raptors. The Iron Scale deals 1 damage to the Vanguard Raptors. The Iron Scale activates Wrath of the Scatborn on the Blood Sisters. The Vanguard Raptors activate Unleash Hell and deal 5 damage to the Blood Sisters. The Vanguard Raptors activate All-Out Defense. The Blood Sisters activate all-out slaughter. The Blood Sisters finish off the Vanguard Raptors. The Vanguard Raptors deal 1 damage to the Blood Sisters using the Blaze of Glory ability. The Fulminators finish off the Iron Scale that deals 2 damage back using the Kane's Essence ability. The Lord Relictor deals 2 damage to the Blood Sisters. The Daughters of Khaine score 5 victory points. The battle tactic is "This one's mine." The Lord Relictor activates Heroic Leadership and strike at the opening. The Lord Relictor deals 2 damage to the Blood Sisters that deal 1 damage back, using the Kane's Essence ability. The Slaughter Queen fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Lord Relictor prays for a translocation on the Fulminators. The Bloodstalkers activate Redeploy. The Fulminator deals 2 damage to the Bloodstalkers. The Liberators deal 4 damage to the Bloodstalkers. The Blood Sister deals 2 damage to the Lord Relictor. The Bloodstalkers deal 1 damage to the Liberators. The Lord Relictor activates all-out attack. The Lord Relictor finishes off the Blood Sister that deals 1 damage back using the Kane's Essence ability. The Stormcast score 4 victory points. The battle tactic is desecrate their lands. The Lord Relictor activates Heroic Recovery, healing back 2 wounds. The Slaughter Queen activates Heroic Leadership. The Fulminators activate Rally but return no models. The Knight Zephyros activates Wind Raider. The Knight Zephyros deals no damage to the Lord Relictor. The Bloodstalkers activate all-out attack. The Liberators activate all-out defense. The Bloodstalkers deal 5 damage to the Liberators that deal 2 damage back using the Blaze of Glory ability. The Slaughter Queen activates all-out slaughter on the Bloodstalkers. The Bloodstalkers deal 3 damage to the Liberators. The Liberators deal 2 damage to the Bloodstalkers. The Daughters of Khaine score 5 victory points. The battle tactic is gaining momentum. The Lord Relictor activates Heroic Recovery, healing 2 wounds, but fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Slaughter Queen fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Lord Relictor prays for a Lightning Storm, dealing 2 damage to the Knight Zephyros. The Fulminator deals no damage to the Bloodstalkers. The Fulminator deals 4 damage to the Bloodstalkers that finish off the Liberator. The Bloodstalkers finish off the Fulminator. The Lord Relictor finishes off the Knight Zephyros. The Stormcast score 5 victory points. The battle tactic is desecrate their lands. The Lord Relictor fails to activate Heroic Leadership, and the Slaughter Queen fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Lord Relictor prays for a Healing Storm and heals all remaining wounds. The Lord Relictor activates Steadfast March on himself. The Lord Relictor activates Forward to Victory. The Bloodstalkers activate Unleash Hell but deal no damage to the Lord Relictor. The Bloodstalkers activate All Out Defense. The Lord Relictor deals no damage to the Bloodstalkers. The Bloodstalkers deal 3 damage to the Lord Relictor. The Stormcast score 3 victory points. The battle tactic is gaining momentum. The Slaughter Queen fails to activate Heroic Leadership. The Slaughter Queen activates Battle Fury. The Lord Relictor activates Strike at the Opening, dealing 2 damage to the Bloodstalkers. The Slaughter Queen prays for a Catechism of Murder on himself. The Bloodstalkers deal 1 damage to the Lord Relictor. The Lord Relictor activates All Out Defense. The Slaughter Queen finishes off the Lord Relictor that deals 1 damage back using the Blaze of Glory's ability. The Daughters of Khaine score 5 victory points.